I don't really believe in success. We get to the top of a mountain and then you got to look across and it looks beautiful, but then you'll see another mountain that's bigger. You could be a failure for 60 years. In the 61st year, you create the greatest thing. Once you die, that is when success factors in.
His mother talked him into a tryout he didn't want to take. And 14 years later, he became the CFL's all-time receptions leader with over 1,000 catches, a 2-time Grey Cup champion, and a first ballot Hall of Famer.
I had success from having other great teammates and great coaches, willing to take the bullets for the rest of the people in the room and understanding how to add value to more than just yourself.
Now he's taken that same mindset and built a career around mentorship, media, and business because he believes athletes should own their story, their content, and their future.
We want to put people in that position where it's not a scary thing when your career's over and you're okay to walk away and you're not just playing because you need another paycheck.
What was your biggest failure as an athlete, and how did that shape how you handle failure in business?
Man, I haven't really talked about this publicly, but
my next guest almost turned down professional football. His mother talked him into a tryout he didn't want to take. And 14 years later, he became the CFL's all-time receptions leader with over 1,000 catches, a 2-time Grey Cup champion, and a first ballot Hall of Famer. Now he's taken that same mindset and built a career around mentorship, media, and business because he believes athletes should own their story, their content, and their future. Nik Lewis, welcome to Business MVP.
Hey, it's so good to be here. Thank you for the invite, and thanks for sharing your audience.
Thank you. So first, I want to start by saying I read that you grew up in Jacksboro, Texas. Is that right?
Yes, small town Texas.
Okay, yeah. So I wouldn't say I'm a Texan quite yet, but I've been in Austin for about 5 years now. So
it's an amazing place, isn't it? It's grown a lot.
It's grown a lot. It's grown a lot. Yeah, it's changing all the time here, I feel like. Yes. So just want to start off with your athletic career. So you played Division II college football at Southern Arkansas. And I'm guessing after college, you thought your playing days were done. I read that your mom talked you into the arena football tryout. You didn't even want to go. So take me back to that moment. What was she seeing in you that you couldn't see in yourself?
Well, it was a whirlwind. Coming out of high school, I really wanted to play basketball. And I was actually a D2 walk-on. So I walked on to Southern Arkansas. So my senior year, after the game, you're shaking hands with people and they're like, looking forward to seeing you on TV next year. And that was the first time I thought I could play pro football. And then I take off the spring semester there to go train to get ready for the NFL. I don't get drafted. I don't get picked up as a free agent. And just the mental letdown of not being chosen and not getting an opportunity when for so long I didn't believe it. And then I started to believe it. And then it didn't happen. And my agent called me 2 days after the draft and says, hey, we have a workout for you for the Arkansas Twisters. And I'm thinking I just went from potentially going to the NFL and getting drafted to going to play arena football for $200 a week. And at that point, it was kind of like, man, I don't know if I have it in myself to want to go do this. And my mom just said, hey, son, you're going to play for a long time. I'm already claiming it, and you need to go to the workout. And it was good because when I went to the workout, the former head coach there the year before had just became the offensive coordinator for the Calgary Stampeders. And his former offensive coordinator was now the head coach. And he was a former NFL receiver. And once I worked out for that team, he really liked me. And I believe that was a part of me getting the opportunity to go to Calgary.
You're the CFL's all-time receptions leader at 5'10", 240 pounds, not exactly built like the typical receiver, right? So how did your size and being, I guess, underestimated become your greatest advantage?
Well, the running joke I used to tell people was I had 1,000 yards at 10 different weight classes. I actually went into the CFL at 197, 200 pounds. Unfortunately, my brother's 6'4", my dad's 6'2". I just didn't grow, but we all look just alike as far as how our shoulders and back look. And once I turned 25, I really started to develop out. It was good. I just changed my game over year after year and just being able to go in and try to dominate the opposition. I guess the best part, I wasn't a speed guy. You know, even at a 4.5, 4.40, and there's guys running 4.3s and 4.4s. I wasn't ever that. So it never really hurt me to put on a little bit more weight and to develop in the way I did.
I love that. So what was your biggest failure as an athlete, and how did that shape how you handle failure in business?
Man, I think there's so many failures. the one of the hardest things I ever took was losing the Western Final in 2010. It was the best team I'd ever been a part of. We were averaging 37 points a game. We were dominating everybody. And then to go out and
Mhm.
lose that game, it was really a defeating moment.
Mhm.
But there's so many failures in life that we go
Yep.
through. And in sports, we prepare for a moment or we prepare for that week. We get the results and we're able to retool and go back at it. And I think that sometimes people get into this failure mindset and it destroys them for months or years because of something really bad happening. And with sports, you're able to refocus, put together a new game plan and turn it around and go back at it.
Very quickly. So when you do that in business, you kind of kept that same approach then, I'm assuming.
That's it. That's it. It's
Yeah.
always like one step forward. I take everything that people say, and when they tell me
Mhm.
their feedback, I take it to heart what that feedback is, and then I analyze it.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think everybody understands fully what we're doing and how we're doing it. So,
Mhm.
but I give them the credit to say, you know what, you've been in business or you've done this or you've accomplished this. I'm going to take what you're saying. I'm going to analyze and apply it. And maybe there's something in there. Maybe it's one thing. Maybe it's a lot of things that I could take and say, okay, maybe this could be a little bit stronger. And we're able to go in and retool it and just improve our business plan.
Yeah, and I think you actually just said something even like really important that was secondary there, but feedback, right? We're always in business talking about how important feedback is, and a lot of people, are afraid to ask for feedback, right? They're afraid of that criticism, even if it's constructive. And one of the things, I talk about a lot in the business world is just you always got to be seeking feedback because if you're not continually growing, improving.
That's it.
You're surrounding yourself with yes men, and you're not going to grow and learn, right? So I love that you brought up feedback. So I read that you said you look at it like when you were in the CFL that you're an entertainer. And so that you understood early that fans pay to see a show. And, a lot of people don't think of it like that, right? So when did that mindset shift from football to business for you?
It was really my cousin, Tacoma Fontaine. He played arena football
Mm-hmm.
for 8 years. And growing up, he's 5 years older than me. So watching him play professional sports, seeing how he engaged the kids and just the people in the arena. And I
Mm-hmm.
understood that we have to entertain one. And if I do a good job entertaining, that means we have a pretty good chance of winning a game. So it wasn't just
Mm-hmm.
focused on the game, it was focused on creating an atmosphere and an opportunity to really make people want to be there to see it. Right. And in business, it's the same thing. It's like, I love watching people experience something for the first time. Right. Whether it's me doing something, one of my friends, my college best friend, coming up to Canada for the first time, my family coming to Canada for the first time. It's really cool for me to see those experiences. And I want to execute that more. And we're calling them dream trips in AO, where we're going to execute fan sports dream trips and allow them to experience these things in real time, things they never thought they would be able to experience because it's just so special how we can use these experiences to enhance our lives. And then I believe more people should win their championship, right? And that validates you. Right. Once you win a
Yeah,
championship, it's like, okay, well, it was worth going through the failure. It was worth going through everything it took to get here. And that gives it so
100%.
much more value. And I think in
Yep.
life, people have to start seeing what is their championship? Like, what is it that allows them to have the success that they're able to build on and take that into the next thing?
Yeah, I love that. That's a really good takeaway. And to kind of go further into that, you said your most meaningful season wasn't your championship year, though. You said it was Montreal, where you faced adversity. You earned the captaincy for the first time at age 34. So, what did that chapter teach you about leadership?
Man, it's leadership is a constant journey. In every
Hmm.
team, there's new players, new dynamics, possibly new coaches. So figuring it out and willing to take the bullets for the rest of the people in the room and understanding how to add value to more than just yourself, right? So how can I
Hmm.
come into a room with young guys and be able to feed into them, pour into them that allows them to be a little bit better? How can I help the veterans and the new players accommodate to what we're doing and what's the real role? And then it's always setting the tone, right? No matter if it's
Hmm.
practice or in the game, you got to go out and set the tone on a daily basis because when it goes bad, everybody's going to look at you and you have to be strong enough to withstand that and still show people that we still have the ability to go out and get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that applies directly to business, everything you just said, right? So, and then that's just the client and the company.
That's it. I
Y-
remember having one
Yeah.
conversation. I won't say his name, but
Okay.
him and the quarterback were getting into it a lot, and he
Okay.
would get frustrated, really frustrated when he didn't get the ball. And I've
Mm-hmm.
been there before, and I just told him before a
Mm-hmm.
game, I said, "Hey, if you need to yell and scream or cuss, come yell, cuss me out, scream at me. Don't do it to the quarterback. You're both young. It's not going to be good. And we can't win like that. But if you got to say something, just come say it to me and then we'll refocus and then we'll go back out there and get the job done. And that's part of being a leader is being able to say, hey, I understand that this is not a healthy thing and it can't continue to go on, but you can't stop people from being themselves either. Right. I can't go to him and say, hey, don't do that again because it's probably going to happen again. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to deflect it in a way that it's positive for everybody and he can get out what he needs to get out and then refocus and go back and do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that applies to business too, just because it's kind of like the concept of a thought partner. Like sometimes people just need somebody to listen, right? And to
Yes,
vet and to vent. And, it's really important in all aspects of life, business, athletics, everywhere, just to have somebody that you can vent to that is just going to be a listener, right? So whether you're and I love being on the other side of that because it's like you can just practice your listening skills, right? You don't even have to contribute all that much. And that's just what people need. So,
100%.
in addition to everything you just said about being a leader, I think it's also highlights just everybody needs a thought partner. So I love that. You've built a career around three things: mentorship, business, media, and you're running AO Sports TV. You host the Lulu Logic podcast. You speak on stages and you mentor young athletes. So, how did all those pieces connect and what's the bigger vision?
Man, sometimes it's like God puts us in a position to really live out our journey and help us find our real purpose and passion, where sports really drives so much of my life. And one of the things I really took away from my career was I was a great teammate and I had success from having other great teammates and great coaches. So I wanted to create a company that resembled the same thing because I looked at a lot of my former teammates and they go into life. They've been a teammate since they were 4 or 5 years old. And now they're in life and they have coworkers. Coworkers do not show up the same way teammates show up for you. Right. So
Right.
when you're in life and now it's like, okay, well, I'm struggling because I was able to do this, this, and this really well, but my teammates were able to
Hmm.
fill in the gaps. And
Right.
now, whether they're in media and they know what they want to talk about, they don't know how to do the design set. They don't know how to do the branding or the marketing. They don't know the algorithms and they don't. So there's so many pieces that they're trying to figure out in real time and it's changing every day, every week, and every month. So I really wanted to create a company that resembled my life. What did I miss out on when I was a young athlete? I wish I had more access to financial literacy. I wish I had more access to mentorship. I wish I had more access to just a lot of these things and being able to provide that now and connect people that are already doing that. It's like, look, you're great at what you do. You can do it by yourself if you want to, but why don't you join our team? Be a part of our ecosystem, and let's do it together. And that's essentially what AO Sports is. It's businesses. It's from marketing, branding, production support. It's transition, character building, financial literacy. All these different companies that are already doing it, just coming into our ecosystem, and then we empower the athlete to really build a brand and sustain that brand, right? In a way that we pay it is stable and scalable.
Got it. And so they still own their content, right? And they profit
Yes.
from their work? Because I know that's something that's really big for you.
100%. Ownership
Understood.
is big for me, and we lease their content for a year. So
Okay.
everything that's behind the paywall is leased content from the creator for a year.
Okay.
Everything in front
Uh-huh.
of the paywall, you can put it on any platform, but it's still part of our AO Sports ecosystem for the free members on our platform as well.
Okay. I love that. And so I guess tell me a little more about that. Like, why does that matter? And what are athletes and entrepreneurs getting wrong about their own brand right now?
I think a lot of athletes don't understand their brand. It's kind of like if you ask them what their brand is, it's kind of like, okay, I don't know what my brand is. I know what I want to accomplish. I know what I want to talk about. I know I want Nike to sponsor me, but they don't know how to get those steps in order to get there. And for us, it's about how do we help you put those things in place and work backwards, right? What is the goal? And then let's set the habits to create the success and reach our goals. And so for us, it's like, how do we put people in a place that they could just be their best? And really that's what AO Sports is. We'll be a mobile app, we'll be a TV app. We sign athletes and creators, sports content creators, to contracts, and then we help them. We find out where you need support, and we're able to fill in the gaps. And the cool part about us is like, I know we're going to deal with agents, so we actually pay the agent, so it doesn't come out of the athlete's fee or revenue share, right? So agents flip houses, right? Average careers every 3 years. So now when we talk to agencies, they love it because they're like, okay, well, now I can actually get paid off this athlete for the next 20, 30 years, not just while they're relevant in their sport as a pro. Now the agent is actually more involved in the athlete's long-term viability, because some of the bigger agencies, they do everything. They're just like, hey, all we need is distribution and monetization from you. Great.
Mhm.
That's better for us. And we can focus our attention on the rest of the athletes that we have in our stable.
Yeah. And do you think it's that, so kind of back to what I was asking, like, do you think what they get wrong is that they really haven't like really thought through and identified what their brand actually is? Like you said, they kind of know where they want to go ultimately, or they know like they've had this career, but they're not defining what the brand is. So if you don't do that, then you just kind of get lost in the shuffle of either just saying yes to everything or picking the wrong things, right? Is that
You hit
accurate?
it on the head, right? And even when we
Okay.
look at NIL, like 68%
Yeah.
of people are making less than $1,000 a month, right? So
Hmm.
they're pretty much saying yes to any opportunity just to make money or,
Right.
gift cards or whatever the case is. They're not in a
Yeah.
position to say, hey, I can really build a brand that's going to increase my NIL opportunity from just who I am
Hmm.
on social media and the ability to connect to more people through storytelling. And that's what we want to create. So it's a more stable situation, and it doesn't just end if you don't go pro, right? You still have value because we look at the best brands like Michael Jordan and what Magic Johnson has done in the space, and the ownership that they have now. They've made more money off the field and off the court than they did ever playing. So we want to put people in that position where it's not a scary thing when your career's over and you're okay to walk away and you're not just playing because you need another paycheck.
Yeah. I love that. I've talked to a lot of athletes on this show, obviously, and it's amazing how many of them really think through the what's after piece, and I think that must be, at the forefront of a lot of athletes' minds. You retire at such a young age in the scheme of it all. So there is this, whole what's next, what's the next chapter. So I love that so many people have recognized that and are focusing on that. It's amazing. So what's the hardest business decision you've had to make, and how do you feel like your football background shaped how you handled it?
I haven't really talked about this publicly, but I feel like it's a
Ooh,
great opportunity. It was
love it.
We were engaged. As a entrepreneur, you're always looking for money, and
Hmm.
we had a verbal agreement with a very powerful group, and they were going to give us so much power to amplify the business and do all these things. And we verbally agreed on an amount that I was going to give up in equity. And then right before we did all the due diligence that they asked for, they were on board 100%. And then they asked for 47% of the company right before we signed contracts. And I said no. So I had to walk away from that deal completely. And I felt like they put us in that situation because they just felt like, what other option do you have?
Right. And
And
you put all this time into it, right?
at
Yeah.
that point, I knew I didn't want that to be my teammate. Right. And at the end of
Hmm.
the day, where it could have advanced us, it could have gave us so many more opportunities. I'm willing to bet on myself and my team. And I was okay with walking away from that and delaying the platform for a couple years. But at the end of the day, I feel like we're in such a better position right now with who we're aligned with, the athletes, the infrastructure that we've built out, and all of our teammates. So um, looking back, it was a great decision. And I look at it as very similar to going into my third year, having 12 opportunities go, 12 teams interested in me coming to the NFL and choosing to stay in Canada, right? I don't look back on it like, oh, I should have went to the NFL. I don't look back on this decision like I should have taken that deal no matter how good or bad it went after. I just understand what my core concept is and who we want to be a part of this and who I want to work with on a daily basis that can also help me grow as a leader, as a man, as a father. as a, a
Mm-hmm.
husband and everything else.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. We've been talking a lot about, what you built. I want to shift a little more, even more to, how you think. So, what specifically does the athlete mindset look like in practice when you're building a company?
It's scary. Um,
Right.
we athletes, they analyze a lot of things and they understand their body and they understand the work
Mm-hmm.
ethic and they understand timelines and all these other things. But then when it comes to the communication piece, I do not talk like a businessman, like or what I would presume to be a businessman in a boardroom meeting. So sometimes when I'm talking to people and they abbreviate words, like I don't know what this is, right?
I love that.
and
It's the worst.
and
Yeah.
you gotta be like, hey, you know what? Can you explain that? And I'm okay with letting people know, like, look, can you please explain what you're talking about? I'm not understanding your question. And
Mm-hmm.
it takes a while to get there because at first you just kind of let it go by because you don't want to seem dumb or
I know.
unintelligent and you don't want to
100%.
ask any
Yeah.
questions. But then
Right.
where they're trying to get to in the conversation without you
Mm-hmm.
asking the questions to, understand better, you can't get to where they
Mm-hmm.
want to go in the conversation. And sometimes that really hinders the conversation because it doesn't get to where they wanted the conversation to get to by the end of it.
Yeah. No, I think that's totally accurate. So, for entrepreneurs listening who are in a tough season right now, and you've been there before, what would you tell them?
New year, new mountain. I mean, I think everything in life is about going into 2020, building AO. It was all about new year, new mountain. I said, I don't care what the terrain is. I don't care what the weather is. I'm just going to build and I'm going to climb. COVID happened and definitely didn't expect to do that. Go through COVID and sports shut down. You're building a sports media platform and sports shuts down, right? There's no sports on TV. And but it allowed me to adapt the mindset that you shouldn't worry about your circumstances on a daily basis. You should only worry about climbing and positioning yourself to get better and better and better and continue to improve on everything that you're looking to do. It's not going to be easy, but it gets easier when you find your tribe and when you find people that believe in what you want to do, but also they can come in and enhance what you want to do. My original concept of AO Sports is so much more expansive today from the people that's been a part of it. Right. So I'm so thankful for them coming on board and just being like, hey, here's some other opportunities. Here's what we can do. And we've continued to expand that out.
Yeah, I think that's important. So, surround yourself with the right people, keep adapting, keep plugging, just keep climbing, like you said, and you'll
That's
get
it.
through. So I think that's good advice. So, to further that, if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing about what success actually requires, what would it be?
I'll tell you this. I don't really believe in success. I believe in achievements. And because I look back and I even asked my daughter, I said, okay, if I just do nothing for the rest of my life, am I successful? I became a Hall of Famer, top 1% of the 1%. And I go back to that mountain scenario, right? We get to the top of a mountain and then you got to look across and it looks beautiful, but then you'll see another mountain that's bigger. And you can't be afraid to say, okay, well, let's go climb that one. Right. So I believe that once you die, that is when success factors in. When people talk about you, they'll know if your life was a success or a failure. And as long as there's
Hmm.
time on the clock, you got time to win. You could be a failure for 60 years, in the 61st year, you create the greatest thing and you're
Yep.
successful, right?
Yep.
So don't cut yourself short on this success word because you've had some hurdles or because you've had some failures. Or even if you hit your goals already, find a bigger goal and go after it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Always search for more in life and to always do those. And I know sometimes, and my wife tells me it's not the healthiest thing. And I'm always looking for new challenges
Yeah.
and doing those
Understood.
things. But I enjoy it though. I enjoy reaching achievements and reaching goals. So that's
Hmm.
why goal setting is so important because that gives me the satisfaction. But I know that I still have a long way to go, and every day that I'm breathing, I'm going to continue to climb. Les Brown said, "It's not that you set a goal and miss. Says most people set their goals too low and hit, and they could have done
100%.
so much more, right? But
Yep.
they made their dream. If it's playing professional football or basketball or soccer or whatever it is, and then you reach that,
Hmm.
it's hard to find." something else that's going to top that in life. Right.
Understood. I understand. Yeah, I understand. One thing I talk about a lot in like the business consulting world is if you're always just getting yeses, if you're actually reaching all those goals, it's the same thing, right? You're not reaching high enough.
Yeah.
So I get that. Like that's what's hard though about, professional athletes and what you're describing though is that, or even like, entrepreneurs that have hit it big early on in their careers, it's like, well, you've already achieved what you think success looks like. So it's very hard to, keep going, keep growing, like you said. So I think it is important to I like the way you look at it. I'm going to take that away. I love that. But, it's just, what's the next thing, right? Like, what's the next goal now that you've reached this one? It doesn't even have to be in the same lane. So I know, I love the way you think of that. So that's great. Thank you. What habit or principle from your athletic career do you think every entrepreneur, athlete or not, should adopt immediately?
What habit? Oh man, that's a good question. Um, I think your habits of just being disciplined and determined, uh,
Mm-hmm.
but always listen, right? And
Love that.
I know sometimes we get so fixated, like it's my idea, it's my this, it's my this. I
Mm-hmm.
want it to be exactly like this, and they're not willing to really change it a little bit, or to alter it, or to allow it to grow. In our
Mm-hmm.
minds, like if you're a restaurant owner, you have the perfect concept in your mind. And then if it's not working, you're unwilling to shift it because you believe in it so much. But maybe
Yep.
there's one or two changes that you could make that makes it what you want it to be, but it's not
Yep.
always identical to what you envision in your mind. Right. So I would say for me, it's just, always been disciplined in your effort and attitude, because like in
Mm-hmm.
sports, that's the only thing you can control is your
Yep.
effort and attitude every day, to do
Yep.
those things, but also being able to listen and, adjust.
Yeah. And I think another thing that you said in there when you're giving the restaurant example, for instance, is just it's listening, but it's also allowing your ego to kind of move aside, right? Because for you to be able to be a good listener and to adapt and adjust, like when it's your baby, especially something a company you've started, you've grown, you have this vision, it's hard to hear that feedback, right? It's
It
hard to
is.
listen. So I think it's sometimes you also have to kind of put that ego on the shelf a little bit so that you can be a good listener. So great advice. Yeah, and the discipline and the effort and all of that. I think, you know, there's a lot of athletes, there's a lot of people everywhere that say, you might not be the smartest, right? But you can work the hardest. And I think
Yes.
that's really relevant to what you're saying. Um, so what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? And do you still follow it?
The best piece of advice I've ever been given, don't take yourself so serious. There's a billion people in China that don't know what you're doing today, right? And sometimes we, in our own little bubble, things are really down or up and all those things, but just
Mm-hmm.
don't take yourself so serious. If you trip and fall, laugh at yourself, right?
Right.
Understand that we're on this journey, and there's going to be a lot of people out there that'll beat you down. And if you make it high enough, they'll throw rocks at you and try to get you off your game. But at the end of the day, you should never be the worst enemy of yourself, right? And you got to learn to laugh at yourself and understand you're going to make mistakes. You're going to not make all the right decisions, but learn to sit back, analyze them, laugh at yourself. Like, man, I can't believe I did this 3 years ago or yesterday or last week. And, but learn from it and just be willing to get back out there and keep going.
After playing, you went back to the CFL as a coach. You've built mentorship programs for young athletes. You serve as VP of the Military Community Chamber of Commerce in San Antonio. I think you're still doing all those things. So, what drives you to stay connected and give back at that level?
Oh man, my life has been such a blessing that um, I'm only in the position because of those who supported me. And
Yep.
I truly believe that to give support to others, it's only going to
Mm-hmm.
advance the world in a better place. If they don't get it from me or someone that's going in a positive direction, they're going to get it from someone going in a negative direction, right? And it's just as easy for them to go the opposite way. So it's more about raising these young men and women to believe in themselves and understand what it truly means to obtain your goals and achieve those things.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's what it's about, right? It's like using all the things that I've learned in my life, my failures, my successes and achievements and all those things to really drive back into to them.
And how did you get involved with all of that? I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they have the time to give back now, or they don't know how to get started, or they've reached a point in their career where they have the financial means to give back. I guess, what's some advice you have around that? Like, how do you get started with that? And how do you figure out where to put your time and energy?
It's all about, for me, impact. I try to put myself in the greatest places to create a positive impact on people. One of my advisors in my company is he holds a celebrity softball game in Dallas every year, and it's pretty big. I was able to meet Corey Argenbright, former military veteran, and he was in ordnance disposal, so he'd walk along the roads, and they basically get blown up. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Hurt Locker, but they get blown up. They're finding all
Yes.
the bombs and everything
Mm-hmm.
until he got blew up 23 times in his suit,
Oh
until
my
one time
gosh.
it threw him so far and his concussion was so bad, they basically kicked him out of the military. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, a couple years ago, we lost Corey, but just through the
Hmm.
conversations with Corey, and he's like, man, there's so much of a similar journey from the ex-athlete to a military veteran, trying to
Yeah.
refine yourself and try to find that lane and find where you fit
Yeah.
in.
What's next? Yeah.
And he asked me to be a part of the Military Community Chamber of Commerce, and it meant so much to me because I first came on as like a board member just to help, and then the spot opened up for VP, and everybody was like, "Man, we would love with your background and knowledge in sports, and you offer something totally different than some of our ideas, and we would love for you to do that." And it was always a temporary position because I always feel like there's other people more qualified than me in understanding
Hmm.
those things, but man, it's been a tremendous honor to just be a part of that. Both of my granddads were in the Army. I lost one in
Okay.
Vietnam, so very much so. Respect to everyone that wears that uniform, and just
Hmm.
like everything, man, I just want to do it. I just want to make people proud um, of the effort that I can put to something that's going to produce positive results.
Yeah. So I think, finding something that you feel like you can actually give back, like make an impact with. So I
That's
think
it,
that's good advice. Yeah.
right? And
Whatever that might be.
I
Yeah.
talk to a lot of young athletes about charity. Like, my
Hmm.
nephew's in college, and I was like, "Find a charity." I looked up all the sports charity in San Antonio. Here's all the
Hmm.
sports charities that's there. Pick one and make sure you're giving back, monthly or quarterly, where you're
Hmm.
attending events and you're meeting people when you're doing these things, because it's so powerful, not only from the people that you can meet in those spaces, but it gives you more purpose and an understanding of
100%.
the impact you can make as an athlete.
Yeah, definitely. And it keeps you grounded, right? To like, it's
Yes.
not like that you've been blessed with these other gifts in life, right? So I agree with that totally. So what are you working on right now that you're most excited about?
Just AO. There's a lot of tentacles from it that we've created from fantasy leagues and some other things that we're planning on putting out. But AO is taking up majority of my time and traveling from rink to rink in Canada with my daughter. She's 11. She plays hockey, so I'm headed to Minnesota in a couple of days for the most prestigious women's hockey tournament there that she'll be playing in this week. So I decided to do as much as I can to be a better father, and then just build this company and get it launched so that we can take off and we can help a lot of people.
I love that. Thank you so much for all of this. So Nick, last question. What does it mean to you to be a business MVP?
Man, a business MVP means that you're excelling, and at the end of the day, other people can look at you and draw strength. And I've always said in sports, you're supposed to make it look easy enough that everybody thinks they can do it. And if you're an MVP, then other people should believe they can do it too if you did it. And just be willing to share that journey with others. And for someone like yourself to even create this and be able to share your platform and empower people that come on here, it is truly amazing. And I'm so thankful for you, and I'm so appreciative.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you. Can't wait to get
Thank
back to
you.
Texas.
Come visit. And that's how champions think. Here are the key takeaways from my conversation with Nik today. Own your work. Don't build on someone else's platform when you can build on your own. Being underestimated is a competitive advantage if you use it right. And your best chapter might be the hardest one. Lean into adversity because that's where leaders are made. If you got value from today's episode, share it with someone who's ready to think bigger, compete harder, and win in business. Make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. And if you haven't, leaving a 5-star review goes a long way in helping us grow and reach more leaders like you. You can also watch every episode on YouTube and follow along on Instagram and TikTok at Business MVP Podcast for more behind the scenes and insights. I'm Sammy Peterson. Thanks for being part of the Business MVP community. And I'll see you next time as we continue building you into an MVP in business and in life.